I don't understand why politicians think by doing the easiest part of hard jobs that it's going to make them seem relatable. I worked at Outback Steakhouse for 2.5 days. I was on degreasing crew, so I was the nighttime cleaning crew.
Yeah.
Like, it is so dirty back there at the end. It's just such a mess at the end of the shift.
Layers of gunk.
You ain't never seen a customer. That's where you put Trump.
Hey, I'm Sam Sanders. Thank you for checking out my show. This episode, we're going to talk politics, namely how to laugh about our politics, which I know has been hard for a lot of you this election season. But laughter is possible, it is allowed, and there's no better person to show us how to find the humor in this political season than my guest this episode, one of the best political comedians in the game, Roy Wood Jr. You know who he is. You saw Roy host the White House Correspondents' Dinner in 2023. You saw Roy on The Daily Show for years. And now you can see him on his new CNN show, Have I Got News for You? Roy, you're very busy, and yet you took the time for me and came all the way to Santa Monica. I'm so grateful. How are you?
Y'all got a budget in here, man. This is nice.
It's really funny to hear people remark on this set because it's like 80% IKEA. And Amazon.
But it looked good. It looked like y'all got the Google budget over here. Got the nice shag carpet over here. This one of them rugs that you buy. You think you can buy it in the store, and they be like, it'll be to your house in 4 months.
I wish.
That's rich people. Can
I'm
I cuss
very
on this, or
honored.
is this because it's public radio? I need to behave.
No, listen. How much did this cost? The rug. Mouth it louder. 200. So not that much.
Oh shit, that ain't nothing. Okay.
You want it?
No. Greene ain't my thing, man. But thank you for having me, man.
Of course.
I don't get out on the West Coast often, but I've always enjoyed our conversations over Zoom. So hey, you know how people are like, hey, so and so want to talk, but they all the way in Santa Monica.
I know.
I like him.
Santa Monica. Santa Monica is a commitment.
Go.
Santa Monica is like you're almost driving into the ocean.
Yeah.
It's far.
Yeah, when I lived in LA, I met a woman that lived south of Santa Monica, and I was saying, I don't know if we can do this, because I lived in the Valley.
Oh, girl.
And that's...
No.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't. That's a long-distance relationship.
Yeah, literally. So the fact that you came here for us, that means you care.
Yeah, I do.
Appreciate
yeah,
you.
I do.
As someone who has to find a way to get laughter out of this chaotic political season, just like personally, how are you doing X number of days before the election?
My spirits are good, but I also essentially got half the year off from consuming politics at the rate at which I had for the past 8 years at The Daily Show.
Yeah.
When I left Daily Show, first thing I did was stop watching cable news.
Wait, really?
Because I needed to know everything in every single perspective so that I could shape a perspective that did not overlap what was already out in the zeitgeist.
You had to consume all that was out there to make sure that your take was new and different.
Correct, which means you have to consume the worst of everything, and you have to be knowledgeable of all of the terrible things that are happening, even if you're not going to make jokes of them. So you have to watch Newsmax and News Nation and Fox News and I mean everything down to Cheddar, but even like weird Reddit threads that you follow where, all right, I'm going to try to let me learn a little bit more about the war, be it Gaza or Ukraine, right? And even within that stuff, there's still terrible shit, man.
Yeah.
Footage that you can't forget. So that takes a toll and has taken a toll over the years. And like, I don't even watch cop videos no more.
I can't.
There was a video of a police officer. There was like an inflatable pumpkin that had like broken loose of its anchors and was just floating down the street. And I joked about it on CNN. I'm like, I can't even watch that, because in the back of my mind, I'm like, he finna shoot that pumpkin. He finna shoot that blow up pumpkin. And I don't want to see no more death. So I took a break from that.
I have so many questions for you about humor and finding humor in this weird political season. But I was like, what's the first thing I want to ask him when I get him in this chair? And I just kept going back to really, really wanting your unvarnished reaction to seeing Donald J. Trump with no hairnet and no gloves slinging French fries at a McDonald's. A lot of things give me pause. That really gave me pause.
First off,
what's your take, sir? Please.
we have to stop, as members of the media, we have to stop saying he worked at a McDonald's.
Yeah.
He performed at a McDonald's.
He performed work at a McDonald's, yeah.
He performed the role of McDonald's worker.
Yeah.
And I feel
for 15 minutes.
Yeah, for 15 minutes. I don't understand why politicians think by doing the easiest part of hard jobs that it's going to make them seem relatable to people. It's so stupid to me. Like if you really want to impress me, put Trump on a lunch rush at a McDonald's next to a hospital. I don't know if you've ever gone to any food spot that is near a hospital during lunch rush, and it's doctors and nurses out the door.
They gotta go. They gotta eat quickly.
Psychotic levels of efficiency you have to operate at. I want to see that on a greasy floor in non-slip all black sneakers or degrees at night. I worked at Outback Steakhouse for 2.5 days in high school. And because I was on degreasing crew, so I was the nighttime cleaning crew. Yeah. Like
that's intense
Outback.
Work.
I'm not gonna just put this on Outback. Most of the fast casual dining establishments you go to, it is so dirty back there at the end. It's just such a mess at the end of the shift.
Layers of gunk.
They don't even allow their employees to do it. They have a separate crew. We are the cleaning. You work for Outback, but you clean.
You don't touch the food.
You ain't never seen a customer. You show up after the store is closed.
Yeah.
That's where you put Trump. Pull up an inch-thick anti-slip dish mat, and you see just crumbs of blooming onion residue.
He's a germaphobe. He's a germaphobe.
I think that food service, any outdoor work, construction, landscaping, I'll even give you like plumbing, pipe fitting, HVAC, or military service. Those are the things. Food service, work outside, or military.
I get that.
First off, every American should have to do one of those three.
Yeah. My first job was McDonald's.
I wouldn't put military on nobody, but
serve people food. It teaches you a lot.
Serve food or work outside.
Yeah.
Put in some real work. Military, I don't want to make military mandatory because you get into this idea that everybody goes, military should be mandatory. Heroism is not mandatory. And you're going to mess around and be in the wrong unit with the wrong.
They're not going to be there for you.
They ain't going to be there for you.
Yeah.
And your ass going to be, you're going to be a name on one of them walls because you was with a coward who should have been working at Outback, degreasing the floor. I'm
guessing she won't do it, but should Kamala in response
go to McDonald's? Because Trump did this in response to the whole Kamala stuff from 3 weeks ago when the whole thing was, I don't know if she worked at the McDonald's. Did she? And then
which is wild because where'd that come from?
And then who cares? What's your policies? I'm broke. I have no job. Yeah. I'm about to lose my house.
But this is the thing.
What are your policies?
This is the thing, though, Roy. Donald Trump is so good at understanding that, the symbols last longer. The symbols last longer than the discussion of the policy. That McDonald, just the clip of him at McDonald's, he knows it's going to resonate and vibrate longer.
You're right.
He knows.
You're right, and that's sad. But that's where we are, and I think we're really in a place now with politics as a whole, and it's not just Trump. Kamala's doing the same thing, but it's policy driven, and there's an intellectual approach to it. But both candidates are essentially going, all right, well, how can I meme this? How can I engage?
How can I meme this? I mean, this summer it was on a different level. All the brat stuff, all the Kamala brat. A different kind of symbolism.
They're both in a way of, okay, well, I know y'all are engaging. Okay, I know y'all are. I need to make sure I'm engaging all the voters, and because everybody's in their own little cultural cul-de-sac bubbles now. So I have to reach you in your bubble because you're not going to come to me. Not everybody's going to watch 60 Minutes. So, okay, what podcast can I do?
Find you?
Do you like me now? Okay, Meg Thee Stallion, get out there and twerk for him. What about now? That's no different than Trump going to talk to Theo Vaughn or going to talk to Andrew Schultz and then getting Hulk Hogan and Amber Rose on the stage. They're both running the same playbook of who can I get that's going to reach somebody that may not rock with me. Hey, D.L. Hughley, appreciate the apology. Would you mind getting up on the stage and talking to them black men real quick for me? Like, releasing policies on black men. Like, hey, here's how I'm going to, I've heard what you said.
The black men policy thing was so interesting. I know we're taking twists and turns, but I wanted to laugh out loud when they were like, and our black policy is crypto protections, because y'all want that, right? It was very 40 acres and a Bitcoin.
Correct. Okay. But name a campaign prior to this one. This didn't even happen in 2016. Mm-hmm. Name a campaign prior to this one where you're watching candidates in real time react to things that have happened in the previous week. They are seeing what's going on and then making adjustments. There's no...
In real time.
Correct. Trump goes, oh, McDonald's?
I'll go. Let's do that.
So next week, build a McDonald's and make it look like I work in that thing for a couple of minutes.
Does that make it harder for you as someone who needs to make jokes about this?
No, I don't think so. I think it's more of a, what is this joke saying and doing? My thing is, I don't believe most comedians write material in the spirit of this is the joke that's gonna change the world and I'm gonna influence that. Like Jon Stewart never wrote like that. For what Jon Stewart built into what we know political satire to be in the modern era, I don't believe Jon Stewart sat down in a chair one day and was like, yeah, this is the one. And then Bush is gonna... Bush was in office 2 terms while Jon Stewart was doing all that punching and swinging at his ass.
Yeah.
So there's still a degree of, I'm just here for the jokes. But what you also don't want to be, at least I don't want to be, I don't want to be the comedian that make the joke that ruin the country.
Wait, when has that ever happened? A joke that ruins the country?
It's not. I don't think it ever ruins the country, but it's what they say. You don't think Jimmy Fallon didn't have to twist a little bit after rubbing Trump's hair?
I still think about that.
And then Trump won, and then people was like, "It was you, Jimmy."
Yeah.
We can't prove that, but you also, in hindsight, I look at how I move. Guy. I want to make sure that what I'm doing isn't good. Yeah, Mom, it's your fault.
I'm thinking back to covering election 2016 myself. And I remember I knew journalists in several newsrooms. I knew a lot of folks in my newsroom. And that night that Trump ended up winning, a lot of journalists and a lot of newsrooms, won't say names, didn't have stories ready for if Trump won. And they were like caught flat-footed. And people were writing their stories about Trump's win in real time like that night. For a comedian, do you prepare jokes and sets for either outcome? Do you think of it that way? As we approach Election Day 2024, is Roy Wood Jr. getting a set ready for Kamala winning and a set ready for Trump winning?
I think that's a difference between a comedian and a journalist in a way, is that, journalists have an investigative journalist even. Mm-hmm. I'm going to research. I'm going to go in depth. Mm-hmm. I'm going to really get to the bottom of why this thing happened and what the causations were. Mm-hmm. Those think pieces about Trump and what happened and where did Hillary mess up, that was 2 to 3 days after Election Day where you started to see those pieces, kind of coming together. I feel like the job of a comedian, I'm not necessarily sitting in a yay Trump, yay Hillary, yay Trump, yay Kamala lane. At the Daily Show we literally had 2 scripts set up because we were doing live. We were live. As you found out states went blue or red, we found out. So you had jokes about if Georgia went blue or if Georgia went red. Huh. And you were handed those jokes. Yeah. Hey, the prompter's going to be blue, script red. And so...
That sounds nerve-wracking.
That's live television, though. So you kind of have to be in a different place. Mm-hmm. Comedy, my job is just to report on what's going on as it's happening or as we've all reacted to it. I think you have to look at comedians as more as weather reporters. I'm not here to report. That's like asking a comic, well, before the hurricane comes, do you have hurricane hits directly or hurricane misses where you are?
You're waiting for the hurricane.
Wait for the hurricane. And then I can tell you storm surge is here, it's doing this versus, hey, the storm surge is south of us, but up here, this is happening.
Okay.
And I can't do that until the storm hits.
Gotta wait for the storm to
So as a comedian, you wait for the storm. As a TV political satirist, hey, we need 2 jokes in our back pocket because we want to be funny on both sides of this.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get, I wonder if I can find that. I'm locked out of my Daily Show email after I quit.
How dare they? Give it back to him. Give him all the files.
We have Hillary. There's a Hillary script because we get emailed the script every day after rehearsal, and you get red, script blue.
Wow.
And you just oscillate between the two based on how things happen. Yeah, I wonder if I have some of those old Hillary.
Comedy Central.
Some of them old Hillary scripts from election night.
Yeah.
There was balloons in the ceiling. We never let down.
Let's talk about your new show, your CNN show. Tell folks what it is and what it does.
So the show is Have I Got News for You? And it's a weekly show. And literally all we do, it's a fake quiz show where we summarize and discuss the news of the week. It's based on a British show, same name, that's been on in England for well over 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So, the guys over at Hat Trick Productions who produced the Brit version, they came to CNN. CNN says, yeah, let's try it over here. Let's try humor on a Saturday night. They stepped to me about hosting. And, Amber Ruffin and Michael Ian Black are on the show as regulars as well.
I love that.
And we literally, where it differs from Daily Show is that because it's a quiz show, we don't have time to really get into the minutia of the causation or the pain of what is happening. This is a place for you to laugh about all of the stories that you have already cried or been upset about, or it's a place to be your toe in the water on terrible things so we can educate you about it, but through humor.
Yeah. Thinking about everything you've been saying and the work that you do and how you think about the comedy and the politics and the journalism of it all. Some people have called you America's best working political journalist, comedian journalist, and they'll ascribe the term journalist to what you're doing.
Yeah.
I always wonder how comedians feel about that title when it's thrown upon them. Because this has been a thing that's been happening with comedians like you ever since The Daily Show became what it has become.
I'm fine with it. Somebody called me a humorist on Wikipedia.
That's not bad.
I tried to change it. Wikipedia gonna tell me I can't change my own. It's me.
I can't change mine either. Someone added one line to mine the other week, and I was like, fuck you. They were like, Sanders is gay and single. God damn.
You lonely bitch.
Yeah. And I don't know how to change it. But they're right. Anywho, go ahead. Sorry. They called you a humorist.
I'm fine with being called a comedy journalist. My degree's in journalism. Comedy is a form of journalism, in my opinion. You're either reporting on what you see around you or you're reporting on what is happening within you. Those are the two types of stand-ups there are. What do you see? What do you feel?
I've never heard someone say that to me. Comedy is journalism.
You're just reporting on it. Y'all ever seen? You ever noticed? Y'all ever been at the?
Isn't it crazy that?
That's observation. That's Andy Rooney.
Yeah.
Or it's I feel this thing, and it's an introspective human relations, human nature piece or whatever about yourself.
Yeah.
It's a profile.
Yeah.
Gerard Carmichael that's a profile.
Yeah.
Hey, I feel these things, and this is my pops, and my mom said this, and when I go home, I feel that it's a profile piece without the reporter throwing the questions at him. Cat Williams is journalism. Cat Williams is reporting on what he sees.
And Cat Williams is a prophet. He be calling
also
stuff.
That.
He be
also
calling
that too.
stuff.
So that to me, I'm fine with being called that. I won't say that that's always been my mission, but I do like talking about the issues and figuring out interesting ways to address them.
Yeah. One of the big things I want to talk to you about in this conversation is how to think about laughter in this cycle particularly. There are these moments that have been happening where I'll say to myself, that was not funny at all. And then 2 days later, there's a funny TikTok about it. And I'm like, can I laugh at this? For instance, A few weeks ago, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are lying and saying that Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio are eating dogs and cats.
Right.
It was not true,
Kidnapping.
reprehensible, and then when faced with the lie of it all, J.D. Vance doubled down. But you saw what I saw. A few days later, TikTok had set the words eating the dogs, eating the cats to a trap beat, and people were making TikToks twerking and popping and locking to eating the dogs, eating the cats. I didn't think it was funny. How do I want you to give me some guidance on how to like deal with those moments because they happen a lot and I'm not sure how I feel, Roy.
We have to stop thinking that humor is universal. Facts are universal. We're not going to like the same things. That's why there's a million aisles in the grocery store.
Yeah.
We're up to 30 flavors of Doritos, bro.
And none of them are good.
We are a varied nation, sad to say.
Yeah.
Humor is no different. I think that a lot of people, you know, especially when you look at humor as a way to deal with trauma, humor and the reasons why people escape, the reason why people consume humor is to either feel comforted in knowing that you're not alone in something or it's escapist. And so I need something to get my mind off of the things that I don't want to think about. And that's so absurd and out there that that's funny to me. I'm not going to sit here and consider whether or not I'm perpetuating a stereotype that's been put at the feet of Haitian people for decades by Americans. I'm going to just dance to this because it's silly. There's people on the other side of that that could argue this is helping to show how ridiculous what he said was because we're lampooning it. And you might have been somebody that don't care about politics and doesn't care about, ain't followed the campaign, never.
Yeah.
I don't know why I sounded like Cat Williams.
I loved it.
Ain't followed a syllable of a debate. Ain't watched none of that. And you know, what is this cats and dogs? That's catchy. Yeah, Trump was saying something crazy. Said Haitian people eating cats and dogs. That might be enough to get that undecided vote. And it's sad that that's what it takes to get an undecided vote.
But if it works, it works. I get that.
Oh, wow, that person's stupid. But you're always going to be, if you're making jokes about things that a lot of people are not laughing at, you're always going to be in trouble with somebody, you know, from that group. But that's the game, man.
That's what it is. I mean, so I guess it's like, I don't know. I think you're one of our great political and comedy thinkers. I guess what advice do you have to people like me who are struggling in these final weeks in the run-up to the election about when the hell I can laugh at this ridiculousness? I really think about it a lot. Like, am I allowed to find humor in this like weird moment?
You're not. You don't have to find humor in the same things. And I think that's the thing that we want. We want to laugh together and be collective.
Yeah.
But again, we're
past
separate.
That time.
We're in our separate
Monoculture's over.
pod. We're in our separate pods now. I can find the person who does the humor I like. So you got to find that person and then click on a bunch of people they follow so your algorithm can evolve.
That's what it is. Okay.
So
the
shit you
secret
don't
is
find,
algorithm hacking.
So the stuff that you don't find funny doesn't start polluting its way back into your timeline. But, you know, honestly, I think that figuring out whether or not you can laugh at how ridiculous it is that this man can just spit lies every week, avoid interviews every week, avoid accountability every week. It's funny, but it ain't. Because there's a lot of people that's looking at that and going, yeah, he worked at McDonald's just like me. You're damn right I'm going to vote for him. I'd vote for him 2 times if I could. Yeah. This same person is inspiring people to go to polls and intimidate folks. You start getting policies that aren't funny, that aren't worth laughing at.
Yeah.
It ain't cool no more. So I'm not mad at people who don't have... I'm not mad at people who don't have that bone in them. But I would say to those people, you have to find a release. You need something escapist. I don't think it's a coincidence that there's so much more of I feel like there's a level of consumption of reality television in the last 8 years that does not compare to Real World and all of that. Like it just, our level of obsession with just vapid junk food TV to me could also be a byproduct of just how dire and wild these times are.
The real stuff.
Yes.
I get that.
Yes, but I'm never going to tell somebody, toughen up. You need to learn how to take a joke. It ain't funny to everybody.
Well, that's the thing. And I think this is the thing that our culture is trying to wrap its head around. I think that, and I'm not the first person to say this, but it felt as if for a while there was this golden age, and golden or not, but it was an age of media and specifically television monoculture. Like there were not as many channels, not as many platforms, no internet or social media apps to compete with. And like a lot of Americans watched the same things, which meant that a lot of our communal sense of humor felt perhaps more aligned than it is now, or more linear than it is now. It felt like a Roy Wood Jr. joke could land with a bigger audience then than now, because it feels like we're all just so much more fragmented.
We're fragmented, and so by fragmenting, then in that case, your fringe thoughts get confirmed faster, which makes you feel like...
Because you can find some part of the internet that confirms your fringe thought.
There used to be a time where if you were a conspiracy theorist, you had to go knock on doors and recruit people the right way.
Right way.
If you couldn't just put up a Facebook post and go, they're eating the cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And then everybody goes, yeah, they are eating the cats and dogs.
Yeah.
You had to work your community for a year and then have meetings and then have a little website set up where if you believe they're eating the cats and dogs, come to the meeting, and then you go in the forest and now you have a cult and you build a building and then the feds come and you get in a gun battle. There was a right way to, even if you had the weirdest Taylor Swift, Joe Biden's a lizard, she's a Democratic plant, you had to work that through channel to something as simple as a letter to the editor. If you were so disgusted with something in your community, you either had to run for office or write a letter to the newspaper.
And people forget, when you wrote a letter to the newspaper, you didn't know who was going to read it, and you didn't know if they'd write back, and chances are you'd never hear anything.
Yes.
Whereas now, you have a conspiracy theory idea, you just make your Reddit thread, and they'll come to you.
And people will retweet it out the ass. Yeah. And then, even when you are the original creator of the rumor, i.e., Haitian cats and dogs lady who said, oh, my bad, they ain't eating the cats and dogs. My pet is safe. Them Haitians didn't eat it. Could y'all stop saying that? J.D. Vance is like,
too late.
No.
It's too late. Yeah. So then, in the midst of that climate, do you feel like it's harder to make a joke in this political climate, in this media climate, than it was 10, 15 years ago?
I think the hit rate for jokes went down during this climate.
How does that make you feel as a comedian who wants to have hits?
You got to keep shooting.
Okay.
You got to keep shooting. You just got to respect the fact that the game didn't change. There's just certain things you're not going to be able to go back to. You know, this idea. Also, I think humor is harder to wow people because humor is the one genre of entertainment that everybody accidentally does from time to time, every week. You don't accidentally sing or dance or act or...
But you can be funny sometimes.
Magician. Like you might could dance a little bit. People try to dance. But everybody's cracked a joke. You said something funny.
Yeah.
So now, if you're a comedian, the idea of saying the thing that I say what everybody else is thinking, well, it's not a lot of comics you can say that about anymore because everybody is literally saying what they thinking now.
All the time.
Because everybody has a camera or an outlet or a keyboard. So the idea of being so profound, I don't know how many early comedians were they profound or just first.
Woo.
And they were the ones that just had access.
Yeah.
So they became a voice of a people because I can't talk. I can't write a letter to the editor. There is no Twitter. So yes, George Carlin, keep going and saying the thing. Yes, Richard Pryor, keep going because you represent me. Where now
everybody's represented.
Everybody's represented. You ain't the voice of me. I got a podcast. Y'all listen to me. I'm the voice of y'all. There's more consumers than customers now. So how can comedy hit at the same rate if you know you thought of that same thing or you tweeted that? Man, I've I've said stuff and then had somebody come tell me, you stole that tweet from Nucky Nuck 77_.
We don't follow you, sweetheart. We don't know who you are.
There's so much parallel. And then you take the tweet that Nucky Nuck posted and lay it against my tweet.
And it's dumb.
And it's a dumb argument. And there's 15 other people that made the same observation 5 years before
Can I
Nucky
tell you
Nuck.
this just happened to me?
This is just general. That's why I don't really fool with observational humor. But
yeah. No, I mean, I get it all. But I hear you speaking about this with such calm and such clarity and such radical acceptance of the changed landscape for humor and political humor. A lot of, I'd even venture to say, most comedians in your same boat don't come to it as optimistic and fair. Why are there so many more, it feels like, comedians ranting against this changed landscape instead of just accepting it? You see these guys, and it's usually guys, they're mad about this space they find themselves in.
It's mostly men. And
what's up with that?
Maybe Roseanne. I don't know. I don't know a lot of women that are on the rebel.
Because they're just like, we got to adapt. And there's this class of male comedians of a certain age.
But it's comics on the left, too.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's this idea that, oh, y'all can't take it. No, I'm just saying what's real. But there's also a lot of comedians now that have mistaken making a point for having a punchline.
There you go.
That's
jokes end with the laugh. There's comedians that are doing the thing where there's like no actual punchline. Then there's another side of a lot of lefty comedians where they just want to make you sad.
Yeah, or make you clap. I'm going to say something and it's clapter, and you need to agree with this because we've got to respect and we've got to vote, and you never do that.
I believe the right things, clap.
And then one person in the room goes, fuck that thing. And then you go, you're a stupid voter that doesn't vote.
And that's the viral clip. And you know what never happened in that viral clip? A joke.
A joke. And so the idea becomes, from both sides, you can't take what I'm saying. And that somehow is seen as humor.
And the bit is like that challenge and battle, not making someone laugh.
If you make people laugh at things, it's more difficult to make people laugh at things they don't agree with. But I do think that there is a place for all that type of humor. But I don't know if you're accomplishing anything by committing to a form of, I call it battle comedy.
Huh. Say more.
If you're on stage and my goal, your objective is to go to war with the audience. Let me see how much I can make you squirm and feel, you're going to say something sideways about Kamala or Michelle Obama's looks. Make it funny, man. Figure out a way to put a punchline in there, because ultimately none of that's going to be sustainable. And part of why it doesn't bother me, like when I think about battle comedy or outrage comedy and people who focus on that stylistically, get your bag, bro, because cream gonna rise to the top. Yeah. And as political tones change, and people are not as outraged, and you're no longer the person who's saying what they thinking, then if you're saying what they thinking with no punchline, what are you saying? You're just rambling tweets.
Also, a lot of this, and I blame the front-facing camera and the TikTok comedy of it all and the crowd work thing that everyone's obsessed with now. A lot of these comedians think it's fun and viral to be mean to the folks in your audience. Yeah. I'm kind of over that. Like picking on the people in the crowd because you know it's a funny video.
I wish, though, that the candidates would do town halls like the crowd work videos.
Say more.
Just a quick back and forth. Like, if you just as a visual parody of what I feel the most effective way to disseminate information to people is to make it look visually like something they already are content in consuming. Town halls, stylistically, do not look normal. Town halls, the only thing close to a town hall is a city council meeting.
And who wants to go to that?
Who watches them other than me from time to time?
I used to watch public access television.
Bro, when I used to work Tampa in the early 2000s, the people who live in Tampa know it was Channel 20 on whatever Tampa cable was. Yeah. And there would be city council meetings, and then just a random public access dude that bought an hour of TV. So the idea of you coming up to a podium and reading this pre-drawn up No, just stand on stage and just
Give him one stool in the audience.
Everybody yells and pick one. And then just
And
go
you
back and forth and go interact.
Who would do the better crowd work, Kamala or Trump?
Kamala. Better, just define better.
Well, this is the thing, because I think that, like, Trump is a very good crowd work chaos agent because he knows no limits.
Which makes him more entertaining, which makes him fun to
Whereas
look at.
Kamala,
which is
I think,
how he's able to sneak in.
I think Kamala would want to be nice to the person she's crowd working.
Correct. Which goes against
the idea of this antagonistic crowd work.
Yeah, but no, I don't do crowd work. It's a skill set.
Good, thank you. I appreciate it. Because can I just vent, Roy? I'm tired of the crowd work.
It's a skill set.
I'm tired of it.
You know what's unfortunate, though, about the crowd work is that all of the comedians that I see that do it, most all of them are polished comedians, and they come from the old school ideology of work the jokes, work the jokes, work the jokes. Mm-hmm. But if interaction with people is what's going to get traction to get you to come to my live show,
got to do it.
I have no choice.
Got to do it.
I have no choice. And I think part of why crowd work resonates so well online is that regular people now believe that they are as interesting as these people that we once believed to be celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
So talk to me. I'm cool with that.
Because they'll talk back now.
Correct.
They talk back.
Yeah. I don't have, who are you? I'm here.
Let's
I'm special. So, which goes back to the whole camera phone thing, is that we have more people that are creators than consumers when it comes to content. So the idea of what do you do if a traditional stand-up clip isn't going to get you 100,000 views and get people coming out to see you? What do you do when you've done Jimmy Fallon 3-4 times in a row and you ain't got your sitcom? That used to be the pipeline to the sitcom.
Oh, man. The good old days.
Yeah.
I have to ask, and I feel like the last time we talked, you were just about to give the address at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and you were hyped about it, and it sounded great. I enjoyed it.
It's horrifying.
I bet.
Horrifying day.
What was the most horrifying part of the day?
Talking, it's going to sound wrong when I say it. Talking to Dr. Jill Biden.
Well, she seems nice. No, come on now.
I told you it's going to sound horrible. It was the need to prepare, because you're up there on the dais for an hour and a half before you perform, because you eat dinner.
You sit next to them. So you were next to Jill Biden.
I'm sitting next to Dr. Jill Biden, and she's just great, and she's making small talk.
She's a community college professor, the nicest people in the world.
But I'm literally trying not to get embarrassed in front of America, ma'am. I need to, but you can't say that.
Yeah.
So you engage in the chit chat. So now you have, it's like ESPN Manning cast, where on one screen it's my conversation with her, and then another tab it's me going through my jokes, and then in another tab I'm on a text thread with my writers who are sending me in real time
like updates.
My writers are in the room and they're walking around the room to see who's in there.
Oh, to see who you can mention.
Correct. I have my writers doing recon while we're eating food.
While you're chatting with Joe Biden.
They're sending me, Lester Holt is at this table to your 2:00. Also over here, we see Caitlyn Jenner. Make sure you mention her. While you're trying to prepare, and that was...
And look good on camera, because the cameras are on you the whole time.
And my mama's there. As stressful, if not more stressful than Showtime at the Apollo.
Really?
Is the Correspondents' Dinner.
Really? Because Showtime seems like the hardest venue, because they'll just boo you off stage.
I would rather that. Would you rather get booed or have to stand up and be stared at for 20 minutes? What's worse? At least black people put you out your misery. Black people say, go on, man.
Go, it's over. It's fine.
Go on. And you can come back next week. I've been booed at the same comedy club weeks in a row, and each time I got a fair shake.
Okay.
I was never judged by my previous week's performance.
Yeah.
It's just last week that was whack. But what do you have for us this week, Roy?
Yeah. Whereas Correspondents' Dinner, it'll be bad and you got to stay there.
That goes down in history. And then they write articles. Nobody wrote articles about me getting booed at the Apollo. What is the state of humor? Did he go too far? Yeah. It's like you Michelle Wolf me in smoky eyes. And
I get it.
It was a great gig. It was a great night. All of that being said,
would you do it again?
I would totally do it again.
Okay, y'all hear it here first.
I would totally do it again.
We want it. All right.
And then watch that be the one I bomb.
You will not bomb. You will not bomb. Was the food good?
That was delicious.
Really?
It was steak medallion. You know, that's what rich people eat, the medallion steak. Not a petite, not a sirloin.
Big ass medallion.
Just a medallion, just a little bit.
A little bit, okay.
And fish. There was that and fish. Okay. I remember that.
Okay.
That was...
All right. Is there a secret fraternity, sorority of like former correspondents, dinner comedians? Do y'all just like get together and trade notes?
I don't know about a secret fraternity, but they are all an open book just off the strength of it. I called Wanda Sykes. I called Seth the Entertainer. Jimmy Kimmel sent me a message. Seth Meyers was very kind and reached out. Like so many of the old guard reached out. I didn't even really need to get with Trevor Noah until the very 2 days before. Hey man, here's 3. Like Trevor, like everybody else is going to give me overview of how to approach it and how to do the jokes and look at the camera. Don't look at any, Trevor, I'm just like, hey man, what joke?
Is this joke good?
I'll tell you what's the secret fraternity.
What?
Is political satire in New York City, no matter the show. It's like when you play football for a certain school and no matter what, you're welcome back. And you ever see Michael Irvin on the sidelines at a University of Miami game?
Oh yeah, and they're like, hey man.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
He did it.
Yeah.
And now you're doing it. And so this idea of interacting, Ronnie Chang had a similar interaction just on a random weeknight in Manhattan, saw John Oliver.
Huh.
Just being regular, just at a Staples.
Staples?
Buying printer ink or some shit.
Wow.
And
comedians go to Staples.
And John Oliver just pulls me to the side. Here's what you need to know. And this is my first time meeting him. And it's like he knows we're probably going to see each other anytime soon on a regular basis. Here's the things you need to know about this job. Because so many of the non-scripted and late night and political satire shows that are shot in New York City are produced by people who are all children of The Daily Show. So on air talent, Sam B's husband, Jason Jones, both Daily Show alums, show me nothing but love and have reached out at times when I've been able to, say stuff to them.
I want to get to this game, but I mean, with The Daily Show, it's like we're still in this kind of like wither that show conversation and questioning who's got it next and what that show's trajectory is and what it means now versus then. How much do you still think about The Daily Show?
Oh, all the time. I still watch The Daily Show. I ain't mad at him.
Okay.
I was like, hey, I want to go do something else. But I am a fan. It's in the DVR.
Okay.
I watch it. I still do shows with Jordan Klepper. He and I still
I love y'all's little
shows.
dynamic. It's very good. It's very good.
I think that the show is extremely relevant and matters in American politics. So as long as politicians are trying to sneak, there needs to be somebody kind of shining the light on it.
Okay.
And the correspondents, that is a very hard job to go out and try and make people laugh at this stuff that is just, which is why it's so funny to me. You'll meet a journalist that you respect, like a hard hitting, I do the hard stories. And I'm like, thank you for that. Because and they're like, no, thank you. You make it funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I want to do what you do.
Yeah.
Because you can just go in and go, it's sad, it's terrible, everybody's dead.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Yeah.
Where I have to go, they're dead, but you want to know what's even worse?
Yeah.
But it's to be in the world of political satire, to be a part of that fraternity, it's a very special.
Not a bad club.
It's a very special thing. It's a little different from Saturday Night Live. I don't have any tie. I didn't come up in 30 Rock University.
Yeah.
But I observe the way they move with each other, the way 30 Rock alums, no matter how long you were there.
They can come back.
And it don't matter what floor you're on. I'm not just talking SNL.
Yeah.
Fallon, Seth, all of that.
Yeah.
That's its own separate ecosystem. And I see the way they all interact with one another and put each other on in different projects and all of that. Yeah. And there's a lot of that happens on the political satire, especially the Daily Show alums. Jon Stewart, when I guest hosted, Jon Stewart came through and popped in on my episode.
I remember that.
So
great.
I mean, people come back and throw alley-oops and stuff.
I wish journalists were as nice to each other as comedians are.
Oh,
We're some catty people. Oh my God.
Y'all hate each other. And then y'all pay money to go to a conference to roll your eyes at each other.
When have you gone to one of our conferences?
I'd be at NABJ every now and then.
Oh, Lord, that's another story.
Sorry, black journalists pay money to roll their eyes.
We sure do. No, journalists are less nice to each other than comedians are nice to each other. I will say that for sure. I think
journalists are just honest. Comedians are just fake nice.
Whoop.
There's a lot of fake nice. I'm cool with you, but please don't ask me for nothing.
Are you fake nice?
No. I'm more distant with people now.
I get that.
That's my move. Like if we're close, you know that. And if we're not,
you don't.
You know.
You know. Yeah.
You know.
Okay. We're going to take a break.
Okay.
Got a game for you after this?
I'm ready.
Okay. It's going to be easy. You're going to win. You're the only contestant.
Okay, well, that's good.
Let's do it. Okay. We've been trying to think of games for every guest that we have on this show that speak specifically to them and what they're doing. So, since your new CNN show is an adaptation of a British show, we're going to test your judgment between British culture and American culture.
Okay.
So I'm going to name various TV shows, foods, or cultural phenomena that have both British and American versions. And you got to pick which version is better, the British version or the American version. You got to explain yourself. And we're calling this game the Transatlantic Throwdown. Okay. It's real simple.
I shouldn't say slave trade, but okay. I appreciate you.
That happened too.
I appreciate you.
And you know what? America and the British were a part of that one as well.
You want to compare racisms first? You want to start with that? American racism?
Yeah, American racism or British racism?
American racism.
Say more.
I like American racism because it just lets you know. Like, I mean, I don't talk to enough black Brits, but it seemed like that British racism, it's in that accent.
It's layered.
It feels even more condescending.
It's insidious.
Yeah, and it's, also it seems like British people roll all of their racism into the same burrito. Like blacks and immigrants and Jamaicans, we don't like none of you. In America, it's like, nah.
No, you.
Yeah. Y'all.
Them ones.
Now, we going to get to the Browns and then we get, like, because it's like, say what you want about American racism, but at least everybody got their own slur,
White people don't have a slur yet.
Yeah, but it's very thoughtful of American racists to give every minority group their own individual slur.
They care.
So that you can feel special.
Thank you, America.
And I don't know if the Brits do that.
They don't do that. All right. American version or British version? Breakfast.
American. Beans don't belong on no breakfast plate. And it's not that the Brits have beans for breakfast. It's that they put them on a plate. How am I supposed to scoop these shits, man? Like, put like a little souffle cup. You know, you get tartar sauce at a nice restaurant. They bring the tartar sauce in that little bitty thing. Yeah, put the beans in the thing.
I agree. I fully agree.
I've never rocked with
beans in the morning is a bold choice.
The 4 times I've gone to London to tour or to play clubs, I've struggled with breakfast. Just wait till lunch.
I agree. All right.
When is this episode coming out? Because I got to go to London the week of the election.
They'll have heard it by then.
Oh, shit.
If we have any British listeners, I hope we do.
Damn it.
I hope we do. All right. American or British, the accents. Southern drawl or Cockney?
Cockney makes me laugh.
It's very funny.
So, yeah, give me Cockney.
Okay. I do love a good Southern drawl.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing. I was raised on Southern draws. Y'all, tall, ball, call, foul.
Yeah.
But you have a spot of the Jimin and the Jiminer. That just makes me.
It's kind of funny. They're all Brits are mildly Harry Potter coded.
Yo, so the CNN show, our show airs in Britain.
Oh.
So there's a British version and an American version over there. So you can watch both. In London. So every blue moon, I'll get a tweet from somebody from London about the U.S. version. Love and I can't help but read the tweet.
In the accent.
Oh man, love the show. Top shelf, yeah. That sounds like a compliment. I know if liquor's on the top shelf, that's the best liquor.
Good. The British royal family, or America's royal family, which is Beyonce and Jay-Z?
I thought the Kardashians were the American royal family.
No.
It's not Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Who is it then?
It's the Kardashians.
Explain your theory.
That's the royal
Please
family.
explain. Oh, my goodness.
Easy, and
Come
them are
on.
not the royal family. They ain't even out and about enough.
Okay.
You see Blue Ivy like every 3-4 years. She pop up on an album with her mama.
Wins a Grammy for it.
They keep,
And then goes back.
They keep the twins in storage because they don't want you to see them because they trying to get them a regular life.
Meanwhile, I can't not see a Kardashian.
Exactly. Always on tour.
Always.
Well, nah, you know what? Too many people done had sex with Kardashians. That's not royal. That's not royal behavior at all.
And now we don't shame sex over here.
I'm not shaming sex. I'm just saying in terms of what is royal behavior, what is regal behavior. So yeah, it might have to be Jay-Z and Beyonce.
I love it. We made it. We did it. I had one more question. I was going to ask you, but we're there. I was going to ask you if you could do political comedy in any previous historical era.
Oh,
which would you choose
Amazing
and why?
Question. Amazing
which
question.
Which era?
60s.
Why? Then I'll tell you mine.
60s because that was a cultural pivot point for our country.
Mm-hmm.
You had hippie free love. You had peak civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
You had changing ideologies about government and war. I think the 60s, but there was the first integrated sports team in Alabama, which was the Birmingham Barons, which paved the way for integration of sports in the South, which ultimately paved the way for desegregation. So many powerful figures at that time too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would pick Reconstruction. Because if you're a black comic during Reconstruction, the joke is so easy. It's just one joke. You're like, not what y'all said. Not what you said. 40 acres? Mule? Yeah. Like the joke is so easy. The whole joke is just like, you said you're going to do this thing and you didn't do this thing.
Okay, all right.
That's the bit.
I say what you listen.
That's the bit.
I want to perform in a time with less penalties for telling the truth to power. You telling them jokes during Reconstruction, you have to run to the car after the show.
A horse and buggy.
Yeah. Get your ass out of here, boy. They gonna,
yeah.
That's Klan out there waiting for you. I mean, granted, they're going to be waiting in the 60s, too, but at least I can go outside and roast their ass.
Roy Wood Jr., your show on CNN. Tell folks where to find it, how to find it, time, everything.
The show is Have I Got News for You? It's Saturday nights live and at 9 p.m. And it streams the next day on Max. You can go and binge all the other episodes we have out so far.
I love it. Thank you for this chat.
I appreciate you.
I really appreciate you, too.
Yeah, this is a good time.
This is always fun to talk. This is interview number 3 with you. Let's do number 4. Let's do it at a bar.
Yes. I'm trying to think of a bar. Like, just at a bar or like Drink Champs where we're going to be doing shots like Shannon Sharp?
Ooh. Can we?
Nah, this
Bennett says yes.
Nah, this is for the radio. Ask the lawyers. Don't ask him. He don't know nothing.
We're doing shots. Next time we're doing shots. You heard it here first. Roy, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
All right.